Hi Year 11, it's Mrs Shanahan here. So I'm just looking at another 6-mark question ready for paper 2, which is on Monday the 9th of June. I've chosen this one. It's a bit of a strange one. I have actually just done a recording and then stupidly it had just run out of space. So that's why I've already ended up writing it out. So I'm just going to talk you through it this time. But I just thought it was a bit of an odd one. And I thought if we just at least have a chance to look at it together, if you get something similar, you'll be able to feel confident enough to write down some good answers. So it was on the foundation paper, and it says devise a plan, which basically means write a method using green BTB solution. Now, straight away, I know you're going to be thinking, what on earth's that? My teacher's never told me that. It doesn't matter that you've never heard of it. It's a pH indicator. So ones that you are familiar with are litmus paper and universal indicator, which we use quite commonly. This is the exam board trying to throw you off and trying to freak you out, mentioning something you've never heard of. All you need to know is that that is a pH indicator and it will change colour depending on how much carbon dioxide is being breathed into it. So the investigation is the amount of carbon dioxide in the air an athlete breathes out after they've been running at different speeds. So this is your independent variable. You're going to have athletes running at different speeds for the same amount of time for a fair test. We'll talk about a few more control factors in a minute. So you've got to include how you would use the green BTB solution. So do make sure you refer to it as that. Don't try and shorten it down. And how you would control at least 2 variables. So just as a reminder, this question is asking you about respiration. So respiration is a chemical reaction that all living things carry out. Respiration in humans, this is aerobic respiration because there's oxygen present. So glucose plus oxygen react together to form carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released. So don't forget, you can't make energy and you can't destroy it. You can only store and transfer it from one form to another. So glucose, which is a carbohydrate, has a store of chemical energy in it. And what this whole process is about is releasing the stored energy in the glucose. That is what respiration is. If it's with oxygen, it's aerobic. And if it's without oxygen, it's anaerobic. So we know this is aerobic respiration, and the athletes are going to be carrying out exercise, running at different speeds. And the amount of carbon dioxide that they make, they're going to breathe out through a straw, through some green BTB solution, and it will change colour. The more carbon dioxide, you'll get a different colour change. So let's just go through a few things here. Glucose and oxygen are needed for respiration anyway. When you are exercising, you need more glucose and more oxygen to carry out more respiration, and that will release more energy. So the examiner is looking for that word more if you're talking about exercise. As an additional sort of note, glucose is carried in the plasma of your blood. Oxygen is carried by your red blood cells. Carbon dioxide is also carried in the plasma. And water, it's either exhaled or through sweating it is lost, and through urination, which is going for a wee. And then the energy that is released, you can use for movement or muscle contraction, which is exercise. That's what's going on here. For growth or building up large molecules from smaller ones. And for maintaining an internal body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. All of that requires energy, and that is why we need respiration to occur. The other thing that's really important is to understand that carbon dioxide is a very acidic gas. So it's going to lower the pH, and that is how you're going to get a colour change with this green BTB solution. I would imagine it will go a sort of yellow-orangey colour, because it's very, very acidic. But you're not asked about any colours here, so you don't need to worry about it. Just the fact it's green to start with is the only thing you need to say. So what would we be writing down? Athletes are respiring and releasing carbon dioxide, which is an acidic gas. The independent variable is always the variable that you change, and that is the athletes running at different speeds. So you want to use something like a treadmill, really, because you can control the speed. So you'd want to use a treadmill to control and standardise the speed. That's your independent variable. Your dependent variable is what you're going to measure. Now here, you're going to measure the colour change of this pH indicator, this green BTB solution. So you're either going to measure the colour of the solution after the exercise when they've breathed into the solution. Obviously, they're not drinking it or anything like that. That would be highly dangerous. You exhale into it and it will change colour because it will react with the carbon dioxide in your breath. Or you could see how long it takes to get to a set colour that you can suggest. So that's the dependent variable, and that is what you measure. So what do you need to keep the same? So you'd want to have the same age range. So you can't have a 5-year-old and a 65-year-old. You'd need to have the same age range. You don't have to make a suggestion of what that range is, but it has to be the same age range. You want the same number of men and women. You want the same length of time that they're running for. So for a fair test to have comparable results and valid results, they need to run for the same amount of time. It's just the speed that is different. It's worth saying here again, you want the same treadmill, again, to standardise the speed. And then in terms of the actual solution, what needs to be the same here? So you need the same volume of solution used. You'd want the same concentration of this green BTB solution used as well. So I'll just show you the mark scheme, just in case there's anything that I've missed on here. So this is a 6-mark question. It was on the foundation. So if you just want to have a bit of a look through with me. So we've got athletes at different speeds. Again, mention of a treadmill. Breathing out through this green BTB solution at the end of every run. Noting the colour change or how long it takes to get to a set colour. Obviously, it's related to carbon dioxide, which we produce when we respire, and it's acidic. So the more you exercise, the theory is the more carbon dioxide you should be producing, the more acidic the solution will be. It will change colour. And then you've got your control variables here, which I've just gone through with you. And the other thing that might be worth mentioning is an actual control would be to look at the colour of the green BTB when the athletes are at rest, just to make sure there is actually a colour change when they are exercising. You could then have the control when they are at rest, just to show that the indicator does work. So hopefully that helps. If you just get a bit of a strange one, just remain confident. Think about what your teacher has taught you. Think about what it might be related to. Structure your question logically. Think about keywords that you can include and do your best. Okay, thanks everybody. It's bye from Mrs. Shanaher.